Good morning and welcome to the first 2019 Leavenworth City podcast. This is the City Manager Paul Kramer along with our newly elected Mayor Jermaine Wilson. Mayor Wilson started just 2 weeks ago, but I bet it feels like it's been longer than 2 weeks. Talk about, first introduce yourself to the people listening to this podcast who may not know a little bit about you, and then what the first 2 weeks have been like as mayor.
My name is Jermaine Wilson. I am the new mayor of Leavenworth, Kansas. And these past 2 weeks, it's been definitely interesting. I definitely want to say very busy. I definitely seem like a full-time job, but just being in this position, like I said, I've has been able to, bring a lot of exposure to the city of Leavenworth, and a lot of great things. And we just got a positive light shining on the community right now.
Yeah, we do. So talk about how you, as the mayor, interact with people. Can people reach out to you, approach you in the community? I know that's already happening, but sort of what's your philosophy about interacting with people?
Well, you can call me. Like I said, I definitely have my personal contact information on the website as well, too. You're more than welcome to send me email. I'm big on social media, Messenger. And, if I don't respond to you within the next hour, I definitely do my best to try to do a follow-up within that second hour as quick as possible.
So what are the most common, so people who are listening to this, to get a little window into the life of the mayor, what are the most common things that come to you? What are the issues that come to you? And then talk a little bit about, if you could, about the process to get somebody's complaint or issue resolved.
Well, the biggest complaint is definitely the roads currently right now at this time. It's wintertime, and, we definitely need heat in order to cover up those potholes. And another big issue has definitely been with the landlords. For those, who's really not too compassionate about the tenants. I want to say those that are on fixed incomes. There's been a lot of issues and complaints with that area as well, too. And I guess the biggest thing is once you reach out to me, my job is to, answer the best way that I can. And when I don't have the answer, I will contact the city manager. And the city manager, he's definitely open up to set up a one-on-one meeting with you. Or you're more than welcome to come down to the city commission meeting on the 2nd and 4th. And that's a great opportunity for you to be able to speak about, whatever your complaints may be during the citizen participation time.
I think that's a good message, and a message that I would like to also get out to the public is we are accessible.
Correct.
City Hall is always open. My office is always open. My contact information is on the web as well. You can request that we meet with the mayor if you'd like, one-on-one if you'd like, but it's really easy. There's sort of, I think, sometimes the stigma that it's an intimidating place to do, or you can't talk to the decision makers at the city, but I don't think for either you or I that we believe that's the case, that we're pretty easy to get a hold of.
Correct. It's definitely a 24-hour job, so you really don't take time off. And I definitely commend our city manager because anytime that I call, text him, he responds within minutes. So if you can't get a hold of myself or any other commissioners, you're more than welcome to reach out to Paul, and I'm telling you, he responds very quickly.
Yeah, we certainly try to get back to people as soon as we can. So I'll go back just real briefly on the pothole stuff. Potholes, if you watch the national news, the regional news, huge issue right now through the entire region. It's the freeze-thaw cycles. I'm not saying that there's not improvement that we can make on the roads, but potholes individually, please report them to the city. There's a link on our website to report a pothole, and we really do. We have crews that are out there all the time. The streets crews that do that also do the city plowing, also do a lot of our stormwater work. So I'm not going to say we're going to get to them within 24 hours, but we do respond to all those that we get. Let's talk about 2019. What are your priorities? You talked a little bit about landlord-tenant, and that's a process we're going to go through. Another thing that I hear and that I think you've talked about before is what can we do with some of the crime and drug issues, or what conversations have you had with the police chief, or what sort of progress do you hope to make in 2019?
Well, is to definitely continue to build that trust between the citizens and our local law enforcement, because one thing that is definitely lacking in our community, I believe, is just that trust factor. Certain individuals would see things occur throughout the community, and, if an officer report to the scene and they ask a citizen what happened, 9 times out of 10, a lot of them say, I don't want to say because I'm afraid of repercussion or something like that. But the thing is, like I said, we have to be able to work together. I'm a strong believer of community policing. In order for our community to be safe, we both have to be able to do what we're called to do, and that's report issues when we see them, because it's going to make our local law enforcement it's going to be difficult for them to be able to resolve the issue simply because if they don't have any witnesses. And I do believe that you can report a crime and still remain anonymous. But the key thing is we have to come together, work together. When there's an issue, call our officers, build that trust. And we're definitely trying to establish a neighborhood watch program where we all can know who our local law enforcement, the officers that's patrolling that particular area during that time. And so once you call them, you know them directly. They know you directly. And just to continue to build that trust so there is trust amongst the citizens and our local law enforcement.
And we need to do better. The
Correct.
city needs to do better. It's a fact, not an excuse, that we've been 6 to 10 officers short for about the last 5 or 6 years. And a lot of our officers, it's a different sort of force than was around 20 years ago. A lot of young kids, and I hate to call them kids because they're law enforcement professionals, but they're not experienced officers. So we need to do a better job with training. We need to do a better job getting them out in the community too. So I just want people listening to know that we understand that it's not just the community who needs to help us. We need to do a better job.
Correct.
In sort of modern policing of generating and working that trust, and something that we are working on. So I just want people to know that. Let's talk a little bit about economic development. It can seem slow to the outside, to the people watching.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your experience in the last year as a commissioner, and then what you hope to do as the mayor, sort of broadly in the world of economic development.
Well, we definitely have the LCDC, and they're actually always constantly looking for businesses to come to our community. And the thing is, and it's not easy simply because we have to have a consensus in order, to be able to provide those incentives for the businesses to come in town. And the thing is just trying to find the right businesses that's going to fit and benefit our community. One thing I would definitely love to see is, more family-focused businesses. I know that we have play, bounce, and jump, but just to be able to have those extra amenities throughout our community instead of citizens having to go, out of town just to be able to get that family entertainment. It would be great if we could definitely have something here in our area. Thank God for the B&B theaters, which is awesome and excellent. But just to be able to have that different variety, something for our teenagers to be able to do something consistently on the weekends as well.
And you and I, both as fathers of multiple children, know that those long, cold, gray weekend days, it'd be nice if there was something to do. And,
correct.
For little kids, but then also you bring up a good point. Those kids that are 10, 12, 14, those sort of preteens and teenagers, having something constructive for them to do.
Yes, correct.
So we focused a lot last year on some playground projects. I think we're going to do that more. We really need to work on recreational opportunities, and I think you made it pretty clear that those are priorities for you.
Yes.
Really activities, not just for families, for youth, and giving more amenities to the people of City of Leavenworth.
Yeah.
What are a couple other things that have either surprised you or that you look forward to getting more involved in? Have you, I'm talking about our relationships with Fort Leavenworth, our repairing relationships with the county. I think those have been frayed over the last couple of years. What role? I know we just talked about 15 things that are on your radar, but then there's always more. So talk about maybe in those areas.
Fort Leavenworth has been great to the city of Leavenworth, and just in return, we just want to continue to do what we can to, serve the new soldiers that are coming, former military, and just to do what we can to continue to move this community forward because it is made up of a very diverse population. Would definitely love to strengthen our relationship with the county commissioners. I know that we have some new ones, and I think if we just take that time out, we meet individually and, be able to set the goals for the county and the city because we have to work together in order for the city to be able to move forward, in order for the county to move forward because Leavenworth is the biggest city inside of the county. And I think with us working together, we can get so much accomplished.
So you're in the hot seat. You're the mayor now. So
Yes,
let's
sir.
talk maybe about the issue that I've heard the most about recently is the stormwater fee. So people are paying into the stormwater fee now. This was something that the city had recognized 20 years ago, and a professional engineering firm had told us you got to have a dedicated revenue source to fix all these stormwater issues you have. So if people have stormwater issues, and now that we have this revenue stream in place, have you heard, first of all, have you heard from organizations or people? And then what would you recommend that they do?
Well, I know that some individuals may be upset because we have the fee, and believe me, I have to pay the fee. I'm not exempt from paying the fee as well too. But just to be able to serve those who actually been dealing with the stormwater issues, for years, because as I was campaigning, that's one of the biggest things that I heard. My backyard is corroding, the stormwater, just all of these different damages. Now to be able to have those fees implemented so we can actually fix problems, now that we have a solution, we can actually reach out to those citizens who've been having a stormwater issue for so many years. I believe this is something that should have been done years ago, but now that we're actually stepping up as a commission to move forward with it, we're trying to do the best that we can to be able to serve and resolve those issues.
One thing you and I also have in common, and I think I can speak for the rest of the commission, is we want to make sure that this is as transparent as possible.
Correct.
So this March, when we launch our new, hopefully March, maybe April, when we launch our new website, there'll be a dedicated stormwater page so that a resident, an organization, a business can see where every penny of that stormwater dollars go. And I think that goes back to what you talked about with the trust in the community is they're trusting us with their tax dollars. So we want to show where it goes.
Yes, correct.
As we close up our first podcast, your first time as the mayor, anything you'd like to talk to the public about or anything else that you'd like to cover, go ahead.
Yes, I strongly want to encourage the citizens in Leavenworth, Kansas. Get involved in your local government. I'm telling you, there's so much that you can learn. There's so much that you can contribute to help us as, the representatives of the citizens in this community. It's just all about, coming out to the meetings, asking questions. And our job is to serve the citizens inside of this community. But we have to communicate. We all have to work together to make a difference in our community.
I agree. I'd like to thank USD 453, thank Jake Potter, thank them for hosting our podcast today here in the district offices. They always do a great job for us. We'll continue the podcast, I think. And
yes,
I think,
correct.
We won't announce it yet, but I think we're maybe going to roll out some other ways that the public can maybe meet with you and I out in the community.
Yes, sir.
And interact so they don't have to come to City Hall. So they can. So I think we'll have something maybe in the next couple weeks that we can announce to people to come out and see us. So thanks, and always reach out if you have any issues you'd like us to cover on the podcast. Have a nice day.